Hey everybody, welcome to a new series, how to create a quick great tone. I've had a lot of people ask me, can you do kind of condensed versions of some of your videos, maybe some of your more important videos that are going to just kind of get to the point and not go into in-depth discussions. One of the things I like to do is really explain why things are what they are and even prove things to be certain ways. But this series is not about that. I am going to go back to one of my most popular videos, which is how to create a great tone. I recently did a 2020 version. We're going to create a quick, great tone. I'm not going to explain in detail why I'm making the settings I am, but you can always go reference the original video, which the link will be in the description below if you are interested in hearing something more in depth. So without further ado, let's get going. So here we are at HX Edit. First thing I do, I have this new preset. As it comes up in the Helix, I'm going to come over to the multi-out here, change it to path 2A, just so I've opened up both paths now, right? And I can fill these up with whatever I want. I come to the end of path 2. I grab a stereo compressor. Mono if you want your patch to be in mono, stereo if you want it to be in stereo. We're gonna work in stereo. I'm gonna put an LA Studio comp at the end. I am going to set peak reduction of 5, gain of 5.0, and that is done. Depending on what we're feeding into the compressor level-wise, we may get more or less compression and we'll have to adjust our peak reduction appropriately. These are just starting settings, so we have to obviously tailor these to our own needs. Next, I come in and I am going to put a stereo parametric EQ block in case I want to tweak my tone kind of in this what I call the mastering section. But what I will do here is I will bake in a low cut of 100 Hertz and a high cut of around 12 kilohertz just as a starting point. These could change as I start creating my tone. After that, I'm going to come into the legacy reverb and I'm going to put a little room reverb, put the mix around, I don't know, let's go 35% decay. We'll keep around 4.5 where it came up. We won't touch anything else. I'll turn the trails on. That will have to be tailored again. Everything in here will have to be tailored to your purposes and how you like to work. After that, I always like to have a delay. I'm gonna set that to a stereo delay. I love the transistor tape. I switched this over to quarter note because I like working in note values rather than milliseconds. I always find a feedback maybe in around 25-ish or so percent. A mix of right around the same, maybe 25 to 27. I'll turn the trails on and I'm good to go with that. I'm gonna turn that off for now. Keep the reverb on. The compressor, the EQ, and the reverb are gonna be always on style pedals. I just keep those on all the time. The delay will be on whether you want it or not, right? So I'm gonna come over here. I'm going to add an amp. You can either go amp and cab block, or for a little more flexibility, if you wanna tweak your preset later, we can go amp and then add a cab. I'm going to go down and add in the placator dirty. I am going to come to after that and add a cab. I'm gonna put one of my favorites, the Greenback 25. The thing to watch for when you add a cab in is right away baked in is an 8 kilohertz high cut and an 80 hertz low cut. I just zero those off because I've already put my high and low cuts over here. I always start off by switching this to some sort of ribbon mic, like a 121 or a 160. Let's go with the 121, I'll pull it back like maybe 4 inches. There's one other thing I like to do though, and I like to come in to my EQ and throw in a low and high shelf EQ. And my standard settings that I kind of call my betterizer settings that work in most scenarios. Again, you know, there's gonna be times where this won't work, but for most scenarios, if I go to all the frequencies, and if you notice I set the low frequency at 650 hertz, high frequency at 650 hertz. All the frequencies below that, I'm gonna pull back by 2 dB. All the frequencies above that, I'm gonna boost by 2 dB. Again, starting points, everybody. I haven't even listened to anything I've done here yet, but now I have a preset that will probably not be too bad. Of course, I would want to come in and set my amp settings to taste, how much overdrive, what the tone stack EQ is going to be like, and so on and so forth. But let's see what we have here just without touching any of these settings. If I turn my delay on, So that's it. I've got a great tone that I'm really happy with. I might come in and bump up the presence and the treble a bit. So just to recap, you know, watch your compressor settings. You might have to tweak those. You might want to come in and mess with some EQ after the fact. Reverb's kind of good to go unless you wanted something special there, and you can tweak that to your liking. A little bit of delay for when we want it. Good starting point on the high and low shelf EQ here, and we can tweak that to taste. If I come in here and say, no, you know what, I want to add a little more bite to it, I'm going to throw that up to 4. Or, you know, just to 3. Whatever works for you. Amp of choice, cab of choice, mic of choice. I oftentimes recommend ribbon mics and then tweak it over here after with the tone stack and with the high and low shelf, and you're good to go. So that's how I get going really quick, guys, without any of the sort of in-depth stuff to go along with it. But please, if you have any questions about why I do these things, go reference my How to Create a Great Tone video and my How to Create a Great Tone 2020 revised, which has kind of 2 different setups because of the blocks that were available at the time. The effects blocks were available at the time when I made those 2 videos. I also have a template up on CustomTone that kind of gets you started with all of this without the amp and cab, so you can just kind of call it up, throw your amp and cab in, and be off and running. I hope that was useful to some folks, and I hope you like the shorter, kind of condensed version. I'm not going to stop doing longer videos, but I may try to do a few like this for those who just want a quick reference as to how I get things set up. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for the support. I really appreciate it. Please like the video and share it with anybody who you think would get use out of it. And please subscribe to my channel. Hit the bell notification to get notified when I put new content out. Thank you guys again so much, and I'll be back soon. Ciao for now.